I'm going to stand here until I see a smile on everyone's face. We're much too serious this morning. Do you see how that simple shift of the grin caused a shift in energy? That was a conscious decision to be happy. It was a conscious decision to be here now. It was a conscious decision to take control. Everything in our lives can boil down to that one simple thing: a thought, a decision, an action, and when made consciously, we become creators. No, let's rephrase that. We become conscious creators because we're creating all of the time anyway. So now what we're doing is we're taking and claiming that power back into our lives. We're not giving it to the unconscious mind, to society around us. So today we're going to explore this journey of life that is a moment-by-moment decision to choose consciously, to create, to expand, to express, to experience, to be one with life, to be one with love, to be joy, to be abundant, to be health. The statement I want to use right now is, to be conscious means to face yourself, to know yourself, to correct your thought, and then to create. So the first aspect of this is to face yourself. It means to look into the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, see the lies that have been being told to you from the day you were born. See the lies that you have told yourself over and over again, any time that you've said to yourself, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not handsome enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not smart enough, I can't do that, only they can do that. They're special, I'm not special. And can I go on and on and on, because we've all been in front of that mirror together? But we refuse to see that truth. We allow that unconscious mind to come up and it plays that record or that tape, that video over and over and over again. And we get in the mirror and we see that stuff and we've got to say, stop. That is not who I am. Because I know who I am. So now we take the time to go into the journey and know who we are and where we're coming from. Because 14 billion years ago, we did not exist in our individualism. We were a part of one massive wholeness that was the infinite of all, that decided to burst itself into experience and individualize itself, giving each and every particle about everything it created itself. And so right here, right now, there you are, the human expression of the divine. Trillions and trillions of individual cells that are all birthed in the consciousness of pure divine spirit, that have all the power that created the universe right where we are now. And these trillions of cells all have that power, and then they unite and they birth this physical body. And this body temple knows no bounds. The doctors can say you have a problem here. And this body, when the mind within this body, when the consciousness within this body takes the embodiment of truth within it and says, I am perfect, that body will shift, and anything that the doctor has said will disappear as long as the belief is there. So it's coming from the aspect we've faced ourselves, we've seen the lie, we've known ourselves, we're the oneness of God, and now we start to embody it and we believe it. And so we start going through our lives correcting our thoughts that have been misaligned. And you see, this is the moment-by-moment process. Marianne Williamson in her book says, or Barbara DeAngelis in her book says, love is a moment-by-moment decision. Everything is a moment-by-moment decision. So the beauty of everything being a moment-by-moment decision is we have the opportunity, no matter what is going on in our lives, to stop, to see ourselves, to know our truth, and shift. And in that shift, the law, the universal individual power that is everywhere present, starts moving us in that direction. And the greater our belief, the greater that power works. The thing about living consciously means we no longer can blame or censor anyone. Because to blame or censor anyone is saying to ourselves that we're not that powerful. This whole idea, this ridiculous idea that is going on around the country about who's eating chicken and who's not eating chicken and where are you eating chicken, it's all just utter nonsense. It's utter nonsense. Who cares where you eat chicken? Eat chicken anywhere. But when you eat the chicken, eat it consciously that this is nutrients that's feeding my body and my soul so that I can go forth and come from that consciousness. We don't have to worry about them honoring gay rights. Why not? Because there's no such thing as gay in God. And there is an unfolding right here, right now of consciousness that says that everyone is equal, everyone is an expression of God, and that movement into the universe cannot be stopped. Certainly by buying or not buying a chicken sandwich. Can you see how utterly ridiculous this is? I mean, they sold out of chicken. I'm saying, God, help those poor chickens. They're the ones that are being massacred in all this. It ain't got nothing to do with who's marrying who. It's the poor chickens. See, so I'm telling you this because when we choose to live consciously, we do not accept facts as reality. Are you hearing that? We do not accept facts as reality because we understand that facts are effects. Facts, effects. You see, they're the same thing. But what was the cause? The cause is always thought. And so wherever we go, we've got to go back to thought. So let's go back to the chicken thing. What cause are you putting out into the universe? Are you taking sides? Because the second we take sides, we say there's more than one. You hearing that? The second we take sides, we're saying there's duality. When there's duality, we've come out of our knowing of our oneness with all that exists. When we come out of our oneness, we no longer have the power. But if we can embrace all of these magnificent people here who desire to have marriage as a legal right, and we can embrace these people over here who value family values, and we can see them all individualized and whole and perfect expressions of God, and we see no difference between them, that difference must disappear. Because the power of a conscious mind creating is so much greater than an individual mind. So we combine here as a unit, as a group, and we hold that consciousness. We'll change the consciousness of Dallas-Fort Worth because that's how powerful we are. And see, the thing that I'm going to share with you is you're going to walk alone on this path. Or you're going to walk with some few people because most people have yet to awaken. But by us taking that step, by you taking that first step, by taking that step together, we help others to awaken to it. Facts are not reality. Reality comes back to what are we thinking. We must be conscious so that we can make decisions that allow for the expansion of the allness that we are. Did you hear that? We must be conscious so that we can make decisions, so that we can create an expansion of the essence of all that we are, because that's all we're here for. We're here to expand our awareness of the divinity that we are, the divinity that everyone is, the divinity that we are collectively, and the allness gets expanded. There's a beautiful, beautiful saying is that the ocean, no matter how you look at it, always remains itself, even as waves come and go. The ocean never changes, right? It never changes. It's always the ocean. It's always full. It's always complete. And yet there are waves always coming and going. So picture that in life. Those are experiences coming and going. And the ocean remains the same. The ocean doesn't care about an individual wave. You hearing that? So if you're looking for this power outside of yourself to come down and fix you, to create for you, you're grossly mistaken. Because the ocean, the allness, is not affected by an individual decision because it's always going to remain itself. But in your expression, that individualization that you are, you have the power to express uniquely. And then when we move off of this planet, we go back to the fullness of the ocean until we express again, however that might look. That's such a perfect analogy when I think about the ocean. It's always whole, and yet it's constantly, it's almost like we do this thing about we create, we release, and we create again. So think about that aspect. Create, release, create again. It's almost like fishing. You catch a fish, you release it, you go and you catch another fish, you release it. Why release? Because when we release, we're in the now. You see, that's where God lives, in the now. The eternal is only in the now. But if we create and we hold on to that creation, we're attached to that creation. So we're attached back here in the past, and we can't be in the moment because we're being pulled back to that creation. But if we create the experience, we embody the experience, we have from the experience, we learn from the experience, we get our contrast from the experience, we get our clarity from the experience, and we let that experience go, we are now so vibrating at a higher level with such clarity, we now create beyond where we were, and we consciously choose an experience at an even greater rate, a greater experience. And we bring that in and we embody the heck out of it. And we fill our hearts, our souls, our being, and we consciously fill our hearts and souls of it. We breathe into it. We visualize it. We hear it in its fullness. We feel in its fullness. We use all of our five senses, and then we go beyond that and we intuit it into us. And we release it again. And guess what? Another wave. We get to start off another wave, and we go, and this time we become a tsunami. Wouldn't that be cool? No one gets hurt in our tsunami. In our tsunami, there's all goodness. So we have the decision to be a little ripple. And to be a little ripple as a wave means to go around unconsciously living. Or we can choose to live consciously. And to live consciously is, to make it real simple, is to simply be aware. Be aware that you're in a beautiful hotel room. Be aware that you're surrounded by people who love you and care for you. Be aware that right now you are perfect. Be aware that anything you desire, you have the potential to create right in this moment. Be aware that any fact that may be affecting your life, whether it be a relationship, whether it be money, whether it be a job, whether it be health, whether it be harmony, whatever it is, it's a fact. It can change like this. By simply consciously choosing to start the thought process in the direction that you desire. And you build one thought consciously upon another thought consciously upon another thought consciously, and before you know it, you're experiencing that which you've always dreamed of. And you simply say thank you, and you release it, and you create again. People say to me all the time, they say, Lee, why is it that some people fail? Why is it that most people seem to fail? I go back to the Olympics. And I go back to the great Olympian, this young lady who's come up, Gabby, who's taken the hearts of the world. In Gabby's mind, there was never going to be failure. Gabby knew with every ounce of energy that she put out there that she would win. There was no doubt. She never let any thought come into her mind or doubt that, oh, I'm going to get a bronze. That never entered her mind. You see, when you are committed, when you've made a decision to something, you ignore everything out there and you go all forward with all of your thoughts, all of your actions. You surround yourself with people who support you. Anyone who doesn't support you, you gently allow to fall away because they will fall away. They're not of value. They're not about expansion. And when you're expanding, anything that's holding you back will be cut. It will be released. It will be let go because expansion cannot be held back when the desire is that great. Think about this magnificent man who's being called the greatest Olympian of all times. 17 gold medals, 18 gold medals. Do you think he ever thought, do you think he came back to this Olympia and thought, I'm going to get all silver and bronzes, or did he come back with the intention of getting gold? And people were saying he's too old. He's done it too much. He's got to be bored with it. You see, he was consciously living. He was so focused that he knew his power within and he lived it. And you see, they're not unique in that they've demonstrated the power, but you can demonstrate the same power too. But any law of science says that if you follow the laws and the rules of science specifically, it must produce an end result. That's what science says, and it's proven over and over again. It cannot be a scientific truth. So we come in and we say, according to the great teachers of all times, it is done unto you as you believe. Well, if you take that and you embody that consciously, then you will go in and you will say that every thought, every word, every feeling, every action, every person around me, everything in my existence is going to be in alignment with that because I'm consciously choosing it. You are now doing the scientific work and scientific formula. It must demonstrate. If it's not demonstrating, then I would invite you to go within and say, how can I become even more pure as I look at this creative process? When you look at someone who's working so hard like Gabby, if you watched any of the Olympics and you saw her doing the individual events, you saw the firmness, the belief, you saw the conviction, you saw the determination. But did you see the smile? When that little athlete felt she had given it her all and she knew it, her face lit up so big, all you could see was God. Watch every Olympian, and when their face lights up, you see God. Now think back into your lives. When was that moment for you when you put on that look? And that face, that Cheshire cat face came on. My look will go back to December 17th, 1972, the day I was born. Oh no, the day I was married. And I remember that day very well, and it was this beautiful ceremony. Everything's it's all done. I turn around, Gene and I are walking down the aisle, and I looked at my mom and dad, and I had this grin that went from here to here. And they caught it on film. I go back and I say, that was my Olympic moment. That was one of my Olympic moments. And I've had many, many of them, but I'm not unique. Are you hearing that? I'm not up here to be unique. I'm not up here to say, I did this. I'm simply using me as an example, saying something that simple was in your life. That you had these unique moments like everyone else. And I could go through and list a lot of those unique moments for a lot of people in this room because I've taught classes. I've been a part of the lives of the people here. So those unique moments are what we turn to reinforce our belief when we're looking to consciously change something we've never developed before. The power is within us. So to use this idea of conscious living, it's about being aware. It's about facing ourselves in the mirror. It's about knowing who we are. It's about changing where we are to go in the right direction. And then it's about creating life on earth now. Remembering that being conscious is a moment-by-moment decision, and in any moment, we can begin again. So I challenge you this week to pick one thing in your life and to get real conscious, to become real aware, and watch every thought, every word, every feeling, and every action as you create heaven on earth for you.